Burger King is among the largest fast food burger franchises in the world. And while Burger King's menu offers chicken and fish and just about everything else you expect from a modern fast food joint, their astounding success was primarily built on the flame-broiled reputation of their most famous burger. So, today we're going to take a look at the history of the Whopper. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. After that, please leave a comment and let us know what other iconic fast food menu item you would like to hear about. Okay, time to have a little Weird History Food your way.
Have it your way.
Like Leonard Skinnard, Limp Bizkit, and Rick Dees,
Listen, come on.
the tale of Burger King begins in Jacksonville, Florida. In 1953, Florida residents Keith Kramer and Matthew Burns were inspired by the success of the original McDonald's in San Bernardino, California, and decided to start a restaurant of their own. Looking for a unique angle, they purchased the rights to a special grilling machine called the Insta-Broiler and made it the cornerstone of their new fast food franchise, Insta Burger King, which sounds more like a microwave burger or the ruler of hamburger social media. The Insta Burger Kingdom soon grew to include several locations, one of which was purchased in 1954 by a pair of Cornell University classmates, James McLemore and David Edgerton. Business at their Miami locations was brisk, but McLemore and Edgerton had problems with the Insta-Broiler. Presumably, it realized the entire operation depended on its broiling labor and tried to hold the partners up for more money. McLemore and Edgerton eventually replaced the Insta-Broiler with a gas-powered grill they called the Flame-Broiled. Now we're cooking with gas, literally. By 1959, Kramer and Burns were having financial problems, and McLemore and Edgerton stepped up to conquer the entire Burger Kingdom, by which we mean they bought out the company. With the new owners came a shorter, catchier name, Burger King. In 1957, McLemore and Edgerton went to check up on an Insta-Burger King location on Newberry Road in Gainesville. The restaurant was not doing too well, and the owners wanted to figure out what they needed to do to pick up business. The two wandered around the neighborhood in search of restaurants that were doing a greater volume of sales, hoping they could pick up a few pointers. Eventually, they stumbled onto a burger joint that was selling extra-large burgers with full garnish.
I looked up the street and there was a restaurant that was just a lot of people. It was called Whataburger. There were two ladies in this room making big hamburgers, quarter pound and big bun, with lettuce, tomato, pickles, mayonnaise, onions. So I think we ought to do just what these people do.
The two went to work and within days had created the Whopper. The burger debuted later that year at a location in Miami, and the rest, as they say, is weird history. Okay, so a giant burger probably doesn't sound so revolutionary now, after every fast food joint in the world spent the past 3 decades locked in an arms race to see who can harden the most arteries with a single sandwich. But at the time, McDonald's wasn't selling anything like it. The Big Mac wouldn't be introduced until over a decade later in 1968, and the Quarter Pounder, or Royale with cheese as they call it in France, didn't show up until 1972. All McLemore's giant burger needed was a name that would make its whopping size clear to the public.
Call it a Whopper because that means big, and put under the eave of our building, which said Burger King, home of the Whopper, to indicate that we want to be a specialist on that.
They could have gone with something like Giant Meat Disc or the King's Beef. But sometimes, it's best to keep things simple. The Whopper originally cost 37 cents, which in 1957 was the equivalent of about $3.73 in 2022 money. So it's never been a cheap sandwich. The allure of the Whopper is its ginormity, not its price. For the record, the price of a Whopper today varies depending on where you buy it, but generally costs somewhere in the neighborhood of $4.19. The deal gets better if you buy a Whopper meal complete with a soda and fries, which is likely the Burger King's way of gently incentivizing you to buy more, like the benevolent monarch he is. Despite the price, the Whopper has firmly become Burger King's signature item. The entire franchise has billed itself as the home of the Whopper for decades. Their kiosk locations are called BK Whopper Bars, and their in-store internet service is called Whopper Wi-Fi. They really went all in on the Whopper. like a first-round draft pick. Burger King has, at various times and in various places, also sold variations on the Whopper. Of course, there's the Whopper Jr., a smaller version of the sandwich made for cowards to enjoy. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Other variants include, but are not limited to, the all-vegetarian Impossible Whopper, the Angry Whopper, which comes with jalapenos, angry sauce, angry onions, pepper jack cheese, and bacon. The Angriest Whopper, which took the Angry Whopper and added a red bun with hot pepper sauce baked into the roll. The Whopperito, which is a burrito version of the Whopper that replaces the ketchup and mayo with queso sauce. And the 3-Meat Whopper, which contains bacon and pepperoni in addition to the beef patty. Whew. There's also been a Bacon Whopper, Western Whopper, Cheese Whopper, King Kong Whopper, Texas Double Whopper, Carolina Barbecue Whopper, Wisconsin White Cheddar Whopper, Chicken Whopper, and Chicken Whopper Jr. Truly, there is a Whopper for all seasons and all occasions. In 2016, Burger King even tried expanding the Whopper into the world of hot dogs with the Whopper Dog. Sadly, customers didn't really take to the new product. Genius is rarely appreciated in its time. And if a Whopper hot dog sounds like a weird idea to you, then brace yourself for the dog purr. Yes, in 2018, Burger King introduced a Whopper for dogs. That's for dogs, not of dogs. We think that's a pretty important distinction. The dog purr allegedly tastes like dog bones with a dash of Burger King's trademark flame-grilled taste. The dog purr was only available in orders delivered by DoorDash for a limited time and was reportedly created because Burger King executives kept getting complaints from dog owners who couldn't get a moment's peace from their pooch after having a Whopper delivered. Also, imagine opting for the name dog purr when Whop Pupper was right there. Someone really dropped the ball on that one.
I'm going to show you how McDonald's builds a Big Mac sandwich.
In 1967, McDonald's debuted the Big Mac in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The burger, which would be made available nationally the following year, is often perceived to be Mickey D's answer to the Whopper. But originally, it was designed to compete with hamburgers from Bob's Big Boy. We made a whole other episode about it. Check it out for a well-rounded burger education.
We love good food just like you do.
Despite the fact that they were not designed to be enemies, the Whopper and the Big Mac rival each other like the Autobots and the Decepticons. A comparison of these two mighty sandwiches is definitely in order.
I would have waited an eternity for this.
For starters, they do not have the same ingredients. A Whopper is a flame-grilled beef patty, ketchup, mayo, lettuce, tomato, pickles, and sliced onions on a sesame seed bun. The Big Mac, as anyone who remembers the famous jingle can tell you, is 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. The differences are subtle. The Big Mac comes with cheese, but no tomato. The Whopper comes with tomato, but no cheese. The Big Mac also boasts an additional patty, although the patty that comes on a Whopper is substantially larger than the ones that come on a Big Mac. To make up for this deficiency, the Big Mac throws an extra bun in the middle. So, who's winning the rivalry? Well, according to McDonald's, they sell roughly 900 million Big Macs a year, while Burger King claims to sell 2.1 billion Whoppers a year. Unfortunately, that number is difficult, if not outright impossible, to verify, so we're just going to have to take Burger King's word for it. And even if Whoppers really do outsell Big Macs, McDonald's is the much larger chain and has a higher level of overall sales across their whole product line. The Golden Arches may not be slinging as many Big Macs, but they're still moving significantly more burgers out the door. Sorry, King. Burger King may sell a lot of Whoppers, but all is not always well in the kingdom. In 2017, 4 customers sued the company for false advertising, claiming that Burger King was marketing the Whopper with pictures that made it appear 35% bigger than it actually is. Yeah, they actually sued because the Whopper wasn't big enough. The plaintiffs, who were seeking monetary damages for anyone deceived by Burger King's advertising, alleged that marketing images of the Whopper had grown larger, even though the recipe or the amount of beef or ingredients contained in Burger King's Whopper has never changed. It wasn't the first or last controversy in which Burger King would become flame-broiled. For example, just a year later, the company would find itself taking heat over an ad encouraging Russian women to become impregnated by football players competing in the World Cup. Yep, you heard that one correctly. And no, we're not making that up. The company offered a lifetime supply of Whoppers and 3 million rubles, or roughly $63,000, to any woman who would help ensure the future of the Russian football team. It did not go over so well, and the company found itself quickly issuing a public apology. Or then there was the time that Burger King tried to turn friends against each other with the so-called Whopper sacrifice. This marketing campaign saw the company offering a coupon for a free Whopper to anyone who would delete 10 Facebook friends. Roughly 60,000 people installed the unfriending application. Over 200,000 friends were deleted, and right around 20,000 Whopper coupons were delivered. Honestly, they could bring that promotion back. Everybody has at least 10 Facebook friends they could lose. To literally add insult to injury, the app sent a message to the deleted friends making it clear that their former pal had sacrificed them for a single burger. It was undeniably mean-spirited and undeniably awesome. Then there was the Impossible Whopper fiasco. In 2019, Burger King decided to make a Whopper that would cater to vegetarians, or people looking to eat a slightly healthier fast food mega burger.
No beef.
I've never had plant taste like beef before.
Tastes like a Whopper.
In fact, BK was the first major fast food chain to offer the plant-based meatless patty from the Impossible Foods company. It was a good idea, except for one small problem. Unless ordered with modifications, the Impossible Whopper wasn't technically vegetarian. The burger was actually made with eggs and mayo, and it often became contaminated with leftover bits of chicken or beef from the grill. His Royal Highness of Burgers got a harsh rebuke from the vegetarians, but in his defense, the issue seems to have been corrected. The Impossible Whopper has since been called one of the best vegan fast food menu options at any fast food chain, at least by one vegan option guide, and we'd be remiss not to mention the Pride Whopper. In 2022, Burger King Austria made a play to support LGBTQ communities by releasing what it called the Pride Whopper. The sandwich was served in a pride flag wrapper containing the message, "We are all the same inside," and was basically the exact same thing as a regular Whopper, except that it was made with either 2 bottom or 2 top buns. The 2 identical buns were allegedly meant to represent 2 equal buns, to promote equal love and equal rights. But the campaign was criticized for what some saw as using the opportunity to make a misguided joke. The agency behind the ad later issued a statement saying they had learned their lesson. And last, but certainly not least, is the Horse Whopper. Although it was never an official menu item, Burger King was forced to end a contract with one particular production facility in Europe back in 2013 after trace amounts of horse DNA were discovered in the plant's meat. BK clarified that independent tests were conducted at restaurants potentially affected by the contaminated meat and that no horse DNA had been found in any of their burgers. But you can't blame the citizens of the UK if they still say nay to Whoppers. For decades, Burger King was the second most popular fast food franchise in the world, right behind McDonald's. And while it still is popular today, it hasn't been number 2 for some time. It's actually the 10th most popular fast food franchise, having been long eclipsed by places like Starbucks, Wendy's, Subway, and KFC. But despite the fall from grace, there are still nearly 7,300 Burger King locations in the US alone, and the Whopper is still Burger King's most popular menu item. In fact, along with the Whopper Jr. and Impossible Whopper, Whoppers constitute 3 of Burger King's 5 biggest sellers. Which makes sense. Nobody goes to Burger King for their chicken nuggets.
Nuggets.
The Burger King location on Newberry Road in Gainesville, Florida, that initially set Macklemore and Edgerton off in search of what would become the Whopper, is still there. And it's still a Burger King. So what do you think? Whopper or the Big Mac? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, check out some of these other weird history food videos.